Let's call it to order then. Call to order the Urban Type Facility Board of November the 4th. Welcome all of our guests again. You have a set of minutes in front of you from October. I'll take a motion to approve them when you're ready.
So move. Second.
Got a motion second. Any comments or questions this time? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Solid waste delegation. Anyone want to speak against to the solid waste board today? Seeing none, we'll move to the legal report. Mayor Jennings.
Nothing.
And the solid waste report, Mr. Randy.
All right, I think I better get a copy.
No, I don't.
On the, on the second page, the landfill activity report, looks like we took in 1,140 yards. Revenue of 20,515. Year to date's 98,882. Page 3. Collections in Holland. Looked like we hauled 1,191 tons of Smith County. Tipping fees was 41,718. Year to date, 184,13. Seemed like, let's see, last year it was 1,231 and 179 the year to date.
We got a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. That's unusual.
Yep.
All right, on the recycle, like we hauled 317 tons, revenue 23,049.65. So it's a decrease of 3,991 from this time last year. And then we see on the loads hauled out of the convenience centers. We hauled 445 loads out of the convenience centers for the month of October. And let's see, that's the report.
Okay. Any questions about the report before we move on to the next business?
Motion's approved. Second report.
I think we got more conversation, all right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Not bad.
Okay.
I've been wrong there.
All right. And go ahead now with your next.
All right, we're asking for permission to purchase a new roll-off truck. It's gonna be through Sourcewell bid. 03-24-24 PMC for $288,048. The funds are available in the solid waste budget new equipment line item.
What's the pleasure of the board?
What's the, how much is in that account?
Now that I couldn't tell you.
You know, Aaron?
I can look it up real quick.
But if it's in there, okay. I make a motion to approve while he's still looking.
Here's a second. Any other discussion yet? Okay. We'll wait on approval. You want to wait till we hear what you got in there? Commissioner Bell?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. He says it's in there. He said it's in his budget, so
Okay.
he better know.
right. All in favor say aye. Okay. Anything else?
No? Even if I'm about getting a call, about the hour or something. It's posted in 4 different places.
It is,
In
man.
each convenience center.
Yeah.
And I'm fixing to go post it again at the big center, so on the exit gate, because we got so many running here, you know. So
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna get it when I can really see it, you know.
I got you. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate the coverage there too. I think that helps. And
Right.
any other questions for Mr. Randy?
It's a good thing though, isn't it? It's turning out.
Oh,
good.
yeah. Well, we're not closing the Florence Hill, but
Right.
they still run midnight.
I'm ready for you.
Oh, motion to approve your report.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
I get a little
Thank
happy.
you, Mr. Randy. All right, we're ready to move forward then with a new business. And we just took care of that. Old business?
Yeah, Mayor, I got one thing. We got a couple complaints actually, but not real bad complaints, just a kind of question about the new standards and what you can bring to the convenience centers. 10 bags of household garbage and one of the following. And then there was a list. First couple items are furniture and a couple appliances. But then it's like 1 piece of carpet, 5 pieces of lumber, 4, and they're all ores. So one of the complaints I got was, he said, I live in the city, and he said, I've never brought a bag of trash to the convenience center in 40 years of living here. He said, but every now and then I've got a little project. I just built a dog house, try to keep my dog warm when it's gonna snap off cold. And I had some wood and they wouldn't let me bring it in. Cause I only had I had less than 20 shingles, but I had more than 5 pieces of metal and whatever. He just didn't have. And so the question is, I mean, are we just making people take and go multiple trips? Like if you got one sheet of drywall or a piece of drywall and you can't bring any shingles, or if you've got, a few pieces of wood, 5 pieces of lumber, what if you have 6? You got to bring it home.
I
mean,
think,
at some point in time,
yeah, but if you remember, Bobby, we talked about this last meeting, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was one that was like, okay, no, wait a minute now. This ain't, but the thing about it is, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but you come and said a comment like, I don't think nobody's going to stand out there and count.
No.
well, they are. They're making 2 people called me this weekend and had to take stuff home. And just look 2 or 3 pieces of wood. And, well, here's someone I want everybody to think about. 2/3 of the population of the county probably have their trash took off for them, paid for it, all Lebanon and most of Mount Juliet. You can drive down Mount Juliet on Monday and everybody's got a can out.
Right.
So, 2/3 of the county don't hardly ever bring a bag of trash up there. But if they do bring something, they feel like, well, I never bring trash out here. Well, how come I can't, bring a few pieces of wood here? And then the other thing is, if they do get turned away, is it gonna be in some commercial guy's dumpster on the side of the road? Are they really gonna make it home with it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just bring this up because oddly enough, I never thought I voted for it. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody.
Right.
You know how bad I hate to agree with you there, Chris.
Yeah.
You were onto something last month.
But my thing is, and that's what we come to, it's going to cost more money if we just let everybody just bring a truckload of stuff up there and throw it away. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't count it, but whoever takes metal up there, they can take it to the scrapyard and make money off of it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that would be, but
Or some combination of the above. Maybe, I don't know. Just,
How big was the dog house?
I don't think it's.
I'm just thinking about it, because I'm sure they come up there and they got the whole sides of it and everything trying to.
I mean, they would probably take the dog house, but I guess they probably had it broke up in 100 pieces.
yeah.
I went over that when they brought dressers in, was the
Yeah.
drawers pulled out and bust. I said, well, that's the our factory. It holds more. I said, keep it at one unit. You see it that way.
I know they
That's
see
what
her,
they
they
spread.
got to see her.
But if they do break it up in 20 pieces, that's still one piece of furniture. Yeah.
Commissioner Bobby?
3 boxes of miscellaneous items in open top dumpster. Does that mean you can have 3 whole boxes of whatever, of pieces of metal?
Oh, whatnot. So it's just,
Well, and I started once to bring this up, and I don't want to do y'all's job. I mean, I trust me. When I say what I say here, I'm not trying to do y'all's job. But why don't we have a convenience center on this side and one on the west side, and say, bring your stuff up here. This is the only 2 locations that you can bring more than 2 shingles, and get away with it, and just.
That's what the landfill's for,
Yeah.
really.
But you can take that to Rockwood and they would
that was
grind
the
it.
contractor day, what he said.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about, you
That's
still
what they
can't-
would do, though.
Yeah, but you still can't be a contractor.
I know,
I get that, but I'm just saying, just have a location to where, like if we move, like you was talking about, moving it out in the back of put an extra dumpster out there and say, okay, if you want to get rid of it, bring it to Lebanon. Or if Mount Juliet's got a space down there, okay, this is where you have to take this. I mean, we're making this way too complicated, Just by the wordage, we're making it complicated.
Yeah, I wasn't there, and I'm getting one side of the story too.
Right.
Guy could have had tandem trailers in there for all I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, it should probably be something to some combination of, some reasonable amount, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, but it's a catch-22 because I don't want to see it on the side of the road and let Robert have to go pick it up. And that's what I was leaning to.
That's what
And
happened.
if we don't start taking this stuff and dealing with these people, they're going to dump it on the side of the road. So, and I know a good spot up there on Poplar Hill.
Whoa.
Have you seen the gas station up there lately?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm fixing to have to ask Robert to go up there and see what we can do.
Oh, that big.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm not asking for a vote. I just bring it up. I have a couple complaints.
Gotcha. Anything else to come before the old business?
Commissioner Dow, in the solid waste equipment line, there's $433,605.82 remaining.
Okay.
Remaining, after this one comes out,
No,
right now.
more from what's already been spent.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, anything else of old business? Let's go to stormwater delegation. Anyone speaking for the stormwater board today? Seeing nobody, we'll go to stormwater report, Mr. James Vega. You don't have anything?
You got your October numbers. I think we're about right where we were last year. I think the total was 169 inspections. I think we were in the 170s for October of last year, so I'm not slowing down much. The work summary, we had the staff attend the Stormwater Association conference in Chattanooga. It was a 4-day event. I've got proposed stormwater fee adjustment package that's in there. The last time that stormwater made any changes was when you guys adopted these fees in '98, I believe. So what we did, we looked around in Wilson County to see what the other MS4s were charging, and I've attached those numbers in your package also. I just thought I've had this ready for a few weeks, but when is a good time to ask for an increase? I'm not sure about that. But the proposals that you see in there are minimum. I've included the City of Lebanon's numbers also in Mount Juliet, so you could see that we're still underneath their fee structure. The big change that's in here is the critical lot charge. There's no change for the residential application fee. It's still $214. If you're going to build a house or a accessory structure, that fee does not change. The fee that we're creating that we had not had in the past is the critical lot plan review fee. So if somebody has got a piece of property and they've got to cross a creek, they've got to get the state ARAP. All right, then we got to have the size, what's going in the stream. We want to make sure it's going to carry what's between the channels and not back up the water on the neighbor. Well, you've got to have an engineer to check those calculations. So we send it to our engineering team to do that review. They send me a compliance letter saying it meets our requirement. And we're eating that cost at this time. We don't have any way to recover that. There's no fee. What proposed in here is a critical lot fee. So if somebody's submitting an ARAP crossing and we've got to send those numbers to an engineer to review, that fee would be $350. That would be for the stream crossing. If it's a flood study, you got a zone X. It don't have any data. We know that it has potential to flood. So and they're going to build a house in that vicinity. We're going to have them get an engineer to do a flood study. They need to tell us what that 100-year flood elevation is. All right. So when I get that data back, I send it to our engineer. Hey, check these numbers. He'll send us a letter saying this is correct. Or in a lot of cases, hey, I need more data. They used this old program. They didn't use the current program. That changes the flood elevation. So they check all that. Right now, we do not recap any of that fee. We just pay the engineer to review it. What's proposed in here is if it's a flood study, then we would collect $350 for that. Each one of them, if it's a critical lot and you don't have a flood study or no stream crossing, why would it be a critical lot? It's flat. It's under 1%. It's steep. It's on the side of a mountain. It's straight down. Those would be $350 because what we're looking at, we're not looking at the stream. We're not doing flood data. All we're looking at now is the erosion control and the final stabilization plan. How is that yard going to be stabilized? How's that ditch going to be stabilized? You know, that's an engineered plan. So we send that engineer plan to our team, they send us a compliance letter. That would be $350. So if you had a critical lot that had all the above, the total would be $750, and that would be the max for that critical lot. All MS4s around us are already charging that fee. We're the only one that do not recapture any of that.
Does everybody turn around and send it to another engineer just to get an okay?
If you don't have an engineering staff, you have to, the only one qualified is a PE.
Yeah, but okay, but what I'm saying is if you've got these people, whoever buys the land, they have to get an engineer
Yeah.
to do it.
Licensed engineer.
Licensed engineer, he's licensed and just
He's putting his stamp on the line.
he's putting his stamp on the
Yeah.
line. So why do you send it to another one to get over?
Well, that would just be like somebody submitting a subdivision plan. You can get a crappy engineered plan just like you can get a good engineered plan.
So does it not
So-
water? I guess that might be a Mike question.
So you guys have developed checklists and standards. That's what we're checking against, that standard.
Yeah, I know, but can that other engineer be held liable without having to go through that other engineer?
I'm sure, yeah, definitely he could be sued. We would probably be sued since we issued the permit.
Yeah.
In my 30 years, we've always had an engineer that checks the engineer's homework. To me, I wouldn't, feel comfortable just relying on any engineer to submit a plan. Yes, they're licensed in the state of Tennessee. Does that mean you're going to get a good product? No.
Engineers, like lawyers, depends on who
They're, you're working for your client, so you're going to do the minimum. And we deal with these subdivisions all the time. First set of subdivision plans are.
James, I talked to you yesterday, and I appreciate you taking my call. I just worry about going up on people.
I understand, and it's the
That's
pleasure
what
of
they
your
have.
board. That's why, that's
Because I know they're
why.
paying a lot of fees to even get the house
That's
going.
why I wanted to include the other MS4s in yellow, just so you guys can see, hey,
Right.
we don't even charge right now. It's zero if you're under an acre and you submit a plan. Okay, why is the acre important? Because if you're over an acre, you've got to get your state permits as well as the county permits. To get that state permit, you've got to have an engineer design a stormwater pollution prevention plan. All right. Also, you got to have twice weekly inspections. You go up that's the threshold for disturbance is that 1 acre. So we get jobs all the time, 0.95. We don't want to be over an acre. We're going to have to. So, we got to delineate to make sure they're under that acre. We still review the plan, but there's no fee for the land disturbance permit, zero. The minimum, I proposed $100 fee for that application. Mount Juliet, City of Lebanon's $250 if you're under an acre. So when you break down these fees, when you look at the minimum plan review fee, you guys set it up for let's see, what was the minimum was 143. We made that 250. So that was a minimum increase. When you look at the maximum plan review fee, you guys had established 4,200. And we're talking subdivisions and commercial projects that this would affect. It wouldn't be your individual home builder. So the developer side pays for that. But our current fee is 42 max. What we had proposed was 5,000. The City of Lebanon is currently at $6,010 max. So that would be an increase of $800.
So let me ask you this: with this, and we talked this morning, and I was going down the road or whatever. But say, because we got this coming up also with the land use, 1 acre, 2 acre, acre and a half, 50 acres, 5 acres. It's been all over the place, but we just passed one, and then it got revoked and got sued and all that stuff. So if I had a 100-acre farm, and I wanted to cut it up in acre and a half, 2 acres or whatever, I'm going to get dinged for every one of these, right?
No, if you're proposing to subdivide your lot, the first thing you're going to need to do is get preliminary approval. At that time, stormwater charges per lot is $37.75 is what you would pay for that subdivision, no matter how many lots. The increase that I proposed for that asks $12.25 for that lot.
So
It's-
$50 almost.
And then, you know, the 143, instead of 143, it's plus 7, which is 150. And then if you compare what other communities are doing, we're still way underneath what the other rates would be. So I made sure of that. I know Christopher in planning, he had said, you know, rate increases, we've always did minimums. So I wanted to make sure on this proposal that we were not above any county or any other MS4, and we're not. So
All right, and I got one more question. So let me ask you this, if we do decide to go up on this, how can we use that money?
it funds your stormwater program.
Okay.
This, if you guys remember, this is a unfunded federal mandate. We didn't have
So
to.
you're saying right now we're subsidizing the development community
We are
because we're not.
with taxpayer money,
Somebody's
basically.
paying for it. I mean, it's getting paid for it.
We're paying for
It's
it,
just the who.
and
It's not a matter of if.
But, okay, I get that, but what I'm saying is, so like, how much do you have in the bank right now? In the,
I'd have to get with the.
since 98,
With the-
it's,
It's a substantial amount that's in that fund. This
Okay,
is
so how
paid
much-
from the general fund. Stormwater's paid out of the general fund.
so how much is that budget in the general fund? 200,000, 300,000, 400,000?
Our budget yearly, Aaron, do you have that handy?
I can,
I think it's about. And I didn't bring my budget sheet. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I'm just sitting there thinking that if we could use that money to mitigate some of these people that's coming up to the podium talking about flooding and, you know, around their houses and all of that stuff, but we're not private contractors. I get
Well,
that.
mitigating flooding, you're open to a whole nother thing. First of all, we don't have public works. We're not going to get on private property. So how are we going to mitigate flooding?
Okay, but what we're gonna do with this money? That's what I'm asking.
It's going to pay the stormwater program. We're paying about $590,000 a year or something like that
Okay,
for our
so,
stormwater
but
program.
we're already way over that, right?
No, we're not
We're
over that.
So,
We spend, and I could break that number down, but we spend more in stormwater than we take in.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we look over these this month? Come back next month and kind of give us that breakdown, because what I hear you saying is a couple of things, Mike. I think one is that the engineer piece is to cover the county, because many times we get dinged because somebody says, well, you approved it, you know, and then like Bobby said, you know, whoever gets hired by them, they slant it. Well, they don't slant it, but they're being paid by somebody else. Kind of like the road commission says, hey, look, we don't do traffic studies no more. If you got 25 hours or better, we're going to do this, because the traffic study could say maybe what you want it to say. But let's let you come back with this, and then we kind of
Just like-
explore.
okay, I get it, but
Okay.
I go back to what, you know, James was just talking about a while ago. We have 2 engineering firms. We
Got
don't need
3.
to.
We got 3. We have 3 different engine.
No, I'm talking about 2 steps that they have to go through, right?
We have a review process, which your government is required to do review.
Right. Okay, but they have to get one to do their land study.
Yeah, we don't hire an engineer for them, right? We say, hey, you need to get an engineer. Here's our critical lot list. Meet these requirements.
But why not use our own guy and cut that one step out? That's what I'm saying.
Have our engineer design their critical lot plans.
Well, if you don't trust them, so
It ain't a matter of trust. It's a matter of compliance.
Right.
You got a checklist standard that you guys passed. And so when we send it to an engineer, he takes that list and he'll run his calculations and he checks all those boxes.
Okay, so that's
And what you need to see is how many times do we have to send those comments to get a good plan?
right.
We don't get a good plan
Well,
on the
and
first time.
and again,
hardly.
like I told Randy, I don't want to do your job. I'm just asking
Right.
questions.
Yeah.
That's all
And, well, I
I'm
don't want
asking.
to do your job.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
you're
asking- I'm
increasing,
asking
but I can say this is when these fees are targeting the development community.
Right.
The residential, if you're building a house, we didn't change that fee. It's
Okay.
$214.
All right. Now we're
So
you've got $857,000. That's the stormwater budget. That's rounding. It's $856,935.
It's up there. Yeah.
Well, and two, we don't know what mandate's gonna come down the road next year. Every 5 years, we get a new MS4 permit.
Right.
Every 5 years, we're required to do more monitoring, more testing.
Okay, so is that when it comes up next year?
What do you mean?
You said next 5 years, it does it every
So
5 years?
we get, so the county, the state TDEC will issue a 5-year permit. So we file a notice of intent. We're gonna meet these requirements for the next 5 years.
Mhm.
In 5 years, the state will send out a new permit. And then you have to do an NOI, notice of intent, how you're gonna meet these requirements. So every 5 years, those EPA laws get a little tougher. They're not getting,
Where are we at in that cycle then?
we're in our second year.
We got a good ways to
Yeah,
go.
and two, what you'll have is at the end of the 5 years, when we're supposed to get another permit, you'll have somebody that will challenge the permit, and then you'll have somebody that's saying it's not strong enough, or it's too weak. So you'll have the home builders will challenge it, say it's too strong. You'll have the environmental community challenge it and say it's too weak. Then it's going to go to Nashville legislation for a year, 2 years, and this has happened. We operate on that same permit until they issue another one. So it's not always 5 years with those changes. Every time there's a change, there's a lot of court litigation that has to go on. And so we continue to operate under the same permit conditions.
I appreciate the work that you do, and
Thank
I know that your job is a tough job. And I guess the question would probably be to, you saw this need bring to us today. Why?
Because looking at the fee structures and the changes that have come around us to fund their stormwater programs, everybody has increased. We have stayed the same since 1998. I felt the need, based on the cost of living, the cost of gas, and two, having these critical lots, which I'd say they affect more than or less than 1% of projects that we do. If we do 100 permits, we might have one that's going to be a critical lot, and we're not going to issue that permit because, for instance, it's a good case would be Spring Creek, go out Hartsville Pike. You've got a subdivision on the left. Those are flag lots that are not only in the floodway, or in the floodplain, but in the floodway. That's the moving water parallel to the stream. When I did the stream study, just out of curiosity to see how much area was draining to this site that I didn't issue the permit on, it's 52 square miles. The house would have been 4 foot below the 100-year flood. It wouldn't have been there. First flood, and it's not a little house. This is 8,000 square foot house.
But I think, James, I think where I'm coming from is that, so with this thought, I mean, the MS4, your position was asked for us to be done, mandated by the federal government.
Yes, sir.
And you're trying to make sure that we, kind of like commercial AFT, that we're competitive with our neighboring people, but not higher than them. But that this funds that so the taxpayer doesn't have to.
Thank you.
And that's
Well said.
That's your goal,
Yes, sir.
and that's why you bring this to us.
Exactly.
What I would like for us just to take a month to think about this.
And I
But
respect you
come
for
back
that.
and
Yes,
you-
sir.
You come back and maybe answer Commissioner Dow's question. Hey, where does those funds go to? Not only to sustain this program, but this is where else it goes to, and then maybe why we have to have that second engineer to look at something that somebody else has already approved. Those are the three things I've heard so far.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
and you could come in my office any day. I keep a good correspondence between our engineers and their engineers. So when this question comes out, why do we need an engineer? You guys can look at some of these comments and see what's missed on plans that would be a bust, would be a problem for us if we didn't have a second set of eyes. Because like Mr. Bobby said, you're working for your client. You want to give him the best product at the cheapest rate.
Right.
And we got a long, detailed list for stormwater. And when they get into these, a lot of times they might write NA on that checkbox when it was applicable. And they just, breeze
put it
through
on
it,
paper.
and then they put their stamp, and they send our checklist. And if you hadn't checked it, you never would have caught it.
Check.
Yeah, James, what were you talking about? Something about it. What did you say? Something about it was $500,000 a year. I didn't get that part of it. You said.
Oh, no, I was mentioning our yearly budget, how
Yeah.
much we're spending.
Is what you're
In
spending.
a total budget.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you could do that, that would, and then we just take another month to think through all this, and we may have other questions for you next
Yes.
month.
And I'll send another email with those total numbers. I'll get with Aaron, and then you guys have your other email that has this package. And if you have any questions or comments, if I don't know the answer, I'll look and we can do it again, and whatever the pleasure of your board.
What else you got for us?
Okay. So, the only other thing is, the fun never stops. So, next week, the 13th of November, TDEC will be at our office for an audit, and they're going to be looking at our minimum control measure 3, which is illicit discharge detection and elimination. If anybody wants to know what that program's about, you can come over that day and meet Robbie Koresh at TDEC and spend the day with Stormwater.
Rubber boots.
You know, when you say illicit discharge detection and elimination, well, you can think of the bad stuff that you would find, but what people don't realize, this includes our mapping. We got to have all our outfall. You got to do dry weather screening. Somebody's got to walk the streams. This includes our inspections, how we respond when we get a call. It also includes the staff education. What is illicit discharge detection? I just did some education right here. So that's one of the requirements of that program, is to have staff education. So, and to reach out to the commissioners in the community so they can call us when they see something that might possibly be illicit discharge, and we can eliminate it. So, and that's all I got.
Any other questions?
I got one, I got a comment, and I don't want, because me and James, we've been playing ball for a long time. I don't never want to question your integrity, because you know what you're talking about. I just had questions.
Yeah,
That's
hey, no
all.
worries.
I'm stupid.
You
to
do
this
your
stuff,
job.
you know.
Hey,
Yeah.
I appreciate you
I'm stupid
taking my
to it,
call,
yeah.
and that's why I reached out, because I didn't want anybody to, you know, if you had any questions, I'm available to try to answer them or get you an answer. So.
Gotcha. Anything else? Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
What about a motion to approve his report first? Motion to approve.
After that.
Second. All in favor, say aye. And now motion to adjourn.
I ain't saying it again. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Second.